The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Goodyear, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38719. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start first at the front bumper area. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 tow hooks located underneath. These are intended for operational use, 6,000 pounds direct pull. As we move to the inside area, you'll find underslung air horns. As we move to the center, an electronic siren PA speaker. As we move over to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find 2 D handles for gaining access into the front storage location. As we move up onto the cab area on the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Above that are emergency warning lights forward facing. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the hood release. Moving out to the outer edge to the mirror, you'll find a flat and convexed mirror. Moving just into the area of the windshield at the top, you'll find the brow identification lights. There are 5 located here. Directly in the center, you'll find your forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located within inside the light bar in the center is your Opticom. Let's take a look at some other images here. First, starting with the side of the vehicle, full view. We'll move now into the cab section next. Identifying into the body area. Rear portion of the apparatus. And then we'll move into the passenger side cab area. And then full view of the body section, and then we'll go into some close-ups here of the identified items that we previously talked about. First, starting with the front bumper extension, where you'll find D handles located on the top. You'll also find some identification placards located on the outer edge, for example, 1 3/4 front discharge, foam capable. As we move into the inside, there are 2 divider sections in the center front bumper. And let's move into the hood area where we'll identify a few more items. First, starting on the passenger side, where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving to the passenger side, you'll find the recovery location for radiator fluid. On the rear cab wall, you'll find instructions for tilting the cab or lowering the cab. There is also danger placard information located in this area. As we move to the right, you'll find the yellow handle with the black push button. This is the cab activation. Moving to the right, you'll find the location here for either raise or lower. It is a protected switch. And as we move to the right, you'll find the power steering fluid. There is a visual sight gauge and also a dipstick in the cap. Moving now to the exterior. This is the driver's area. When the door is open, the step will auto deploy. As we move into the door panel area, a few items within this area. First, warning and placard information are located here. Door lock and latch combination. And as we move up, you'll find electric window controls for all 4 cab windows. Moving now into the space of the engine area, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of the apparatus, name of the apparatus for City of Goodyear, 5-digit identification number, VIN number, cold tire inflation, all of your fluid capacities and type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find a foot pedal for your air horn and mechanical siren. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and also display port for your maintenance team. Below, switches for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. Moving now to the dash cluster, starting on the left-hand side, you'll find your 4-way flasher, start and ignition switch, To the right, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights, headlight and panel switch, and on the opposite side, OK to engage the high idle switch and indicator. As we move to the dash cluster, you'll find the transmission, def, water, and oil on the left. On the right, volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. In the center, tachometer and speedometer. In the display, you'll find diagnostic information above and below, with information in the display in the center. Let's move just to the right of the steering column, where you'll find the command zone located on the right-hand side. A tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Also, yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. Once again, command zone, it is a touch screen and also function buttons in the lower section. As we move to the right of this location, you'll find the Allison transmission pad with an informational note to pump in neutral. You'll also find caution when operating on wet or slippery surfaces. Please disengage the retarder. As we move to the right, you'll find the stationary OK to pump and roll indicator, water pump foam system, off-road traction, retarder on and off, and retarder auto apply. Also electronic siren control and PA speaker. As we move to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor control module. Below that, you'll find 12-volt access via USB and also your push to talk for your radio intercom system. Moving toward the center area, you'll find your climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we move just toward the rear of the apparatus in the center area, you'll find the flat mirror and convex mirror control. As we look overhead, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 4 inches, length of the vehicle, 33 feet 11.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating is 43,500 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may alter this, please update this placard. Also, the 5-digit job number is located in the lower section. Moving to the right, you'll find Emergency Master and warning lights. Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and Opticom. When any of these switches have been activated, the light will illuminate green in the outer edge. Moving to the right, you'll find siren brake, electronic siren, load manager, front flood, driver scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. As you can see, the load manager is active with the green light illuminating. Moving just to the right, digital readout for pump pressure and also water tank level and foam tank level indicators. In the center, you'll find a warning placard, do not move your apparatus. If this light is flashing, it means you have a compartment or door open. As we look directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find your air compressor for maintaining brake pressure, and then also your breaker box panel for the S1 circuit, which is your shoreline. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, there are 2 forward-facing seats. Now moving to the exterior in the crew cab area, between the front door and the crew cab door is where you'll find the auto eject. This is your shoreline inlet, is a 30 amp. When plugged into shoreline power, the battery charges status will illuminate, indicating battery status. Also, your vehicle is equipped with a airbag system. This is the location of those airbags. As we move to the front axle, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. We're now moving into the rear cab area, and affixed to those door panels, you'll find safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights, and then also your extreme climate air conditioning. As we move to the cab inside area, you'll also find your David Clark headset system and control module for those. There is also 2 rear-facing seats, as you can see here. In between the 2 of those seats, you'll find access for engine checks for oil and transmission. On each side of that location, you'll find 12-volt access via USB. Generally looking to the rear portion of the cab wall, you'll find at the very top your David Clark headset system, also 12-volt access on each side of those seats, along with additional personal storage locations to the right and left of each seat. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior of the apparatus. Let's start first in the cross-lay compartment. We'll start at the very top section. As we move to the top, you'll find a label labeled Dead Lay. This is indicating there is no plumbing within this area. As we move to the right, you also find a 2.5-inch speed lay. Moving down to the lower section, you'll find backboard storage and also 2 cross lays located here. As we move to the very bottom section, a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move just down from this location, you'll find the pump panel. There are 2 discharges located on the side, 2.5-inch locally controlled via the ball valve. Also a pressure warning placard indicating caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening. In the center, you'll find your large diameter inlet. As you move up to the very top section, you'll also find an override because this is an electric valve. Moving to the very far right to the red lever, this is the foam lever for fill or tank. As we moved just to the lower section of that area, you'll find the foam fill and also a warning placard indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also, warning placard here, when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. In the lower section, you'll find air here for in and out. There is a control module just above that. Some close-ups here of the items that we just talked about. These are the 2.5-inch discharges, locally controlled. The draft and also tank lever, which is your red lever on the right. And then at the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the lower right, this is the air inlet and outlet fixture. And moving once again to the very bottom, discharge drains. Your vehicle also equipped with a fold-out step. It is tied to the do not move your apparatus if it's left in the open position. As we move into the pump panel area, we'll start at the very top section with this white light indicating that your pump has properly been engaged if the light is illuminating. You also have a side-facing camera for action located on the passenger side of the vehicle. The activity can be seen through this monitor. To the right, you'll find in the gray module your master intake and master discharge gauge. Between the 2 of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the right, you'll find the PCM fault indicator light and then also pump override. In between the 2 of those, there is an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate for increase or decrease sound level. Let's move down on the pump panel. Identify your discharge controls. On the left-hand side, you'll find levered discharge controls. Those are for the front discharge crosslays. And then to the right, you'll find your rear discharges. You'll also find your Husky 3 foam system and also foam system tank indicator. To the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Within that pressure throttle governor is the tank level for your water tank. Let's move further down onto the pump panel area. We'll start first with your recirculating line. As we move to the right, you'll find your Husky 3 foam system specifications and operating instructions. There are also 5 electric valves here controlling your discharges and also large diameter passenger and driver's side intakes. To the very far right, you'll find the deluge discharge and then also your tank fill and tank to pump. Located directly in the center is your fire pump primer push to prime air for best practices at least 1,000 RPMs. This is a warning indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. At the very bottom, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. In the pan door, you'll find your lever located at the very top for foam fill or operation. And down at the very bottom, protected switch. This is for your pump override. At the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the side vertical wall, you'll find your control module for your master stream device. Also, some switches are located within this area for driver's side scene lights, passenger side scene lights, and then also an air horn activation. As we move further down on there, you'll find some additional caution placard information. And then moving to the opposite side, you'll find the control module recessed for your command light located on the very top section of the cab roof. As we move into the compartment, you do have shoreline outlets. These are only powered when shoreline is plugged in. We'll move through the compartments at this point, first starting with the in front of the axle SCBA bottle storage location. There are 3 bottle storage locations here with retaining straps. As we move down to the rear axle, you'll find Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. To the over wheel compartment, you'll find a tool board. The release mechanism is located on the hinge side once it is open and locked in position. You'll also find within the compartments direct battery access. Moving now to the rear portion where you'll find the fill location for your diesel fuel, that's the silver cap, along with the fill location for the DEF, which is your blue cap. This is an 8 US gallon DEF tank. As we move to the rear compartment, you'll find in the lower section 2 flashlights located on the floor level, and then also on the vertical wall you'll find direct power access via 12 volt. Let's take a look with all compartments open. And now let's move around to the rear of the apparatus with our compartment doors open and also ladder deployed. As we move to the upper compartment, you'll find storage location for a 10-foot folding ladder and then also 2 pike-pulled storage locations. In the lower section, 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder. Just below this access compartment, you'll find 2 cup switches for your rear scene lights and then also driver's side scene lights. As we move it to the very top, you have a rear compartment pull-out tray in the lower section. A couple warning placards here indicating entanglement hazard. Other one indicating never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And if you're climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Let's move to the very top for the hose bed section. We'll take a look inside the hose bed area 2 where you'll find a 2.5-inch driver discharge, foam capable, and then on the opposite side you'll find the passenger 2.5-inch foam capable discharge. As we move to the passenger side, you have a passenger side scene light, which is this cup switched, also along with your ladder access on this side. As we move to the upper portion, you'll find in the center your cab light. Also, this is a non-walking surface, and we do have these placards indicating that. In the walking surface, it's identified with the yellow diamonds. As we move to the compartments, you'll find in the forward section a dunnage area which houses your master stream device and also Husky 3 reservoir. As we move to the outer edges of the hatch area, you'll find 2 forward hatch compartments and then also 2 rear hatch compartments. Each of these have LED lights and dry deck material within inside them. As we move into the rear dunnage area, you'll find your top fill for water and foam location fill. This is the water tank fill. Moving to the other side, this is the foam fill and also a warning placard indicating do not mix brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move to the hose bed area, moving to the very front bulkhead, it's where you'll find the 2.5-inch discharge on the passenger and also on driver's side. Moving around now to the passenger side rear compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving and LED lighting. Also on the rear cab, our rear body wall, you'll find shoreline outlet. Once again, when plugged into shoreline power, those will be active. As we move to the over wheel compartment, you'll find a pull-out and tilt downward shelf. You'll also find shoreline outlet located within this compartment. Here's a demonstration of that shelf being pulled outward and tilted down for access. As we move to the rear axle area, there's additional compartment for 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps and an oxygen bottle. As we move to the rear axle, once again, Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. As to the forward location for storage, there is 3 SCBA bottles and also retaining straps. Let's move just underneath where you'll find your exhaust. Extremely exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious when parking your vehicle during regen operation. As we move to the forward compartment in the upper section, you'll find 12 volt access and then also 2 storage locations here for flashlights. Moving to the opposite or forward location, you'll find additional storage here via your tool board and then also additional 12 volt access. Moving now to the crosslay area, same configuration and layout as we have on the driver's side. The upper section has the dead lay in the forward position and the 2.5-inch speed lay to the rear. In the bottom section, you'll find the 2 3/4 speed lays and then also backboard access. As we move into the pump panel on this side, we'll start at the top with the garden hose outlet. and also activation. Below that, a warning placard indicating when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. In the lower section, you'll find the foam tank fill access. Located directly in the center, you'll find your large diameter pump inlet. Because this is an electric valve, there is an override. Also, the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via a ball valve. Warning placard here indicating entanglement hazard. Caps may be under pressure, be cautious when removing them. Also a 2.5-inch discharge. This is also an electric valve, and therefore there is an override right next to it. Down at the very bottom, you'll find your large diameter discharge. Once again, electric valve. Discharges are located right next to those valves, located here with the image. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those things. First, starting with the garden hose outlet. Then we'll move just down from this location to the right, where you'll find your 2.5-inch discharge. And then across the very bottom section, the passenger side auxiliary inlet and foam tank drain. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains across the very bottom section. As we move just under this area, you'll find a drain for the 1 3/4 front discharge. Let's go ahead and move into the cab area at the rear portion, crew cab. Starting first with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. Inside, you'll find your extreme climate control air conditioning and also push on and off red or white lens lights. There's also 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing seats located within the rear section of the cab. As we move behind the officer seat, you'll find this vented cover. This is for your unit radio. Moving now to the exterior to the front axle, where you'll find, once again, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge. We're now moving into the officer space, affixed to the door panel. Safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move to the interior, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights. As we move to the dash section, you'll also find a few switches within this area. We'll cover those next. First, starting with your 12-volt access via barrel style and also USB. As we move to a few switches here, I'd also like to point out these warning placards indicating spare wiring behind the panel. They do offer the option number and also termination type. Please do not remove these until your maintenance team has had an opportunity to address those. Also some push buttons for mechanical siren, air horn, and siren brake. Additional access here for wire located in this space. As we move to the front, your vehicle is equipped with airbags. This is the location of the supplemental restraint airbag located here in the front bolster. Also warning placard indicating that information regarding the airbag. As we move overhead, you'll find additional lights and also switches. We'll cover those next, starting first with your front flood, driver's scene, passenger scene, and rear scene switches. Moving just to the left of this location, your unit radio. And then moving further to the left, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio. Let's take a look with the apparatus here. All compartment doors open on the passenger side. The next set of images are going to be that of the cab tilted and also engine and chassis photos. We're now under the front, where you'll see the underslung air horns. As we move now around to the driver's side of the vehicle, this is your steering box. Moving into the engine compartment next, we'll identify a few items within this area. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. When the cab has been tilted, please place the safety bar into position. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal lift cylinders on both left and right cab lift cylinders. As we move to the lower section of the battery box on the driver's side, this is the location where you'll find the fill location for your cab tilt reservoir. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. This will conclude the rest of the chassis images. Congratulations, Goodyear, Arizona, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 38719. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.